Hi, I'm Rebecca with Blue Buddha Boutique. In this video, I'll show you how to use the chart that comes with our Jens Pind 5 tutorial so that you can create this weave in 2, 3, 4, or 6 colors and easily keep track of which color goes where. I recommend learning Jens Pind 5 in 5 colors. When you're comfortable with that and start to try 2 or 3 colors, the color pattern is going to be different and it might throw you off. Our tutorial has a chart to guide you through this. It's meant to be used as a PDF so you can zoom in and see the images better, but you can also print it up to set up a queue of rings. So for example, if you are doing a 2-color version, you can just put whatever rings you are using for color number 1 and color number 2 just right here on top of the guide. And that way you know exactly which color that is for you. The chart is laid out with the tutorial step numbers at the top. So if you get stuck at a particular step, you can go to the main tutorial and get a little more information, some more photos for that step to help you out. And for example, here is step 1 and 2, and it shows it in a 2-color version, 3-color version, 4-color version, 6-color version. The second line here just tells you how many rings you have added in the piece so far. So for example, in step 8, you are adding the 5th ring to your piece. It doesn't matter if you're doing 2, 3, 4, or 6 color. The ring that you add, which is shown by the arrow in the picture, is going to be ring number 5. So if you have 6 rings on your piece and think you're on step 8, then something is amiss. What I really like to use this chart for, and you can even print it in black and white and do this, so not only do I lay my guide rings right here, but as I go through, for example, this says this step is add a number 1. What's my number 1 ring? It is pink, so I'm going to do that. This step is also add number 1. Let me just put a pink ring here. This step is add a number 2, so put a blue ring there and go through the entire chart setting up my queue. And so each time it says add a ring, I know exactly what ring I'm adding, and I just take the ring here and use that. I don't need to stop and do extra thinking as to try to figure out which color I'm adding. I just grab it from here, add this one, and then I know I'm flipping a color number 1. I go back just to refresh. My color number 1 is pink, so I know that's what I'm flipping. And then I'm adding this one, flipping, adding, and so on. I'm not going to go step by step through every single color combination since that is essentially what the chart is for, but I will do a quick video demo of each and give you a few notes. The 2-color version shows a very clear spiral when you use contrasting colors. And looking down the single column of rings, let's do that. Note that the colors alternate. So that way you'll know when you're adding a new ring, it's going to be a different color from the ring that's prior in that same column. And also note that when you add a new ring, it goes through 2 rings of each color. So it doesn't matter if you're adding a color number 1 or color number 2, it goes through 2 color number 1s and 2 color number 2s. Show you that when you add this next one, I know that it needs to go next to the opposite color. Comparing the two color version with the three color version, note how the spirals, the colors form spirals in opposite directions. So when you have an even number of colors, it spirals in this direction, and with an odd number, it's going to spiral in the other direction. The spiral pattern is still pretty clear with the colors in a three color version. Once again, you know, the more contrasting colors, the hi, sweetie. And once again, the more contrasting colors you use, the more clearly you can see the spiral. Going down a single column, actually, just leave it here, you can see that it rotates through colors as well. So starting here, this gold one, this is color number 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2 in the direction that you're weaving. So I guess I started with 1 just because that's the first color, but it may be easier to think 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And as you go through all of the columns, it's the same thing. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. There would be 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. As you add colors, so I'm about to add a color number 1 here. Note that as I go through, so the 1, we know it's going to line up on the same column as the prior ring is going to be a color number 2, but note that the ring right on top of it is the same color, so that's the color number 1 ring. So each time you add a ring, it does match up to the color. Let me just slide this one in here, of the ring right on top of it. So that is a good way to make sure that you're staying on track with your colors as you do the 3 color version. Things get interesting with a 4 color version. I like to use similar colors for 1 and 3 and 2 and 4. So 1 and 3 here are kind of like purple violety colors, and then 2 shades of green for 2 and 4, because those similar colors kind of blend together. So you get the same spiral effect as with 2 colors, but it's a little more nuanced and textured because of the extra hues. If you use 4 very distinct colors, or you group, 1, 2, 3, 4, instead of grouping 1 and 3 that are similar, the colors may not form a super clear spiral. There's nothing wrong with that. I just kind of like to see the spiral in this way. And you may have guessed that as you go down a single column here, the colors are going to cycle through. So we'll start with, let me pull this over a little bit. So in this single column, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. So when you are adding a new color, it's going to be stacking on top of the prior number. So I'm ready to add a color number 1 ring here, which means that it's going to go, it's going to stack on top of this bright green one here, which is color number 4. Just like that. And something that is probably a little tricky to see on the video, but the very first ring that the ring I'm adding is grabbing, so kind of way there in the middle of the weave, that matches the color So that's also a color number 1 ring. And let me show that to you maybe with the bright green ring. That might be a little bit easier to see. So let me just get to that point. So if you can see here, I'm adding a color number 4 ring, and the very first ring it grabs in the center of the weave there is also a color number 4 ring. Right. That's right there, that first ring it's grabbing. So that is one other thing to keep an eye out as you weave the 4-color version. With the 6-color version, I've created 3 groups of similar colors, 1 and 4, 2 and 5, and 3 and 6. So just like the 4-color version is similar to the 2-color version, now with 3 groups, the 6-color version is similar to the 3-color version. And as you go down the line of a single column, you'll cycle through all of the colors. We've got 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and so on. So just like the 3-color version, the numbers go backward. When you add a new ring, whatever color it is, so right now I'm adding a color number 1 ring, it is going to stack on top of the prior color number 2 ring. So that's, I'm adding a green ring, it's stacking on top of a violet ring. Color number 1, color number 2. Oops, sure, pop out in the right place, okay. And because I'm adding a color number 1 ring, I am not going through any other color number 1 rings. So as you add a ring, if you see that you're going through the prior ring of the same color, that's wrong. Stop, drop, figure out what happened, but do not continue because your same color rings in the 6-color version will never go through one another. Especially for 6 or more colors, I pull out a queue of rings and go straight down the queue and then check my work, start a new queue, and repeat. And here I have a little sample queue lined up, so I always know which rings I'm adding in which order. And then I just go through here and add the cycle of 6, check the work, add another cycle of 6, and continue. Wait a minute, did I just say 6 or more colors? Why, yes I did. So let's see, what do I have here in my bag of fun? Here is a 12-color version, and because why not, here is 18 colors. So clearly there is no limit to how many colors you do. And once again, the queue, I cannot stress enough, is super helpful when you're getting into double digits. So these tails here represent the queue. This one probably doesn't even fit in the entire screen. It's so long. But yeah, it shows me exactly what colors to use and exactly what order, so that when I set down the piece and I come back and I'm like, oh my goodness, what was I doing? I have this guide here. I hope this video was helpful and inspires you to try Jens Pind 5 in different numbers of colors. Feel free to tag Blue Buddha Boutique on social media to show off what you've made. Happy weaving and rock on!